Take her away, Ian.
Yeah, take it away, Ernie. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Fell over? What you fell over for?
Out for a little walk in the moonlight.
7:30. Where were we at 7:30?
I solemnly swear that I am up to no good.
Turn to page 394.
You foul, loathsome, evil little cockroach!
I didn't mean to.
Mischief managed.
You and your bloody chicken.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for listening to Retold. I just wanted to hop in here real quick before we get to our discussion today, let you know a few things about the episode and let you know what's coming next week. So in today's episode, this is our fan fiction episode. If you've been traveling along with us for a while, we typically talk about, we review 2 chapters from the main canon series at a time. However, at the end of each season, we like to do some fun one-offs. I explained it a bit in the episode, but I did want to clarify. If you listen to my last fan fiction episode at the end of book 2, I just covered one fan fiction, one somewhat longer fan fiction. In this episode, though, Emily and I talk about 4 different shorter fanfics. And so we just wanted to make that clarification for this particular episode. Also, in the third fanfic that we talk about, there is spoilers for book 6. I'm going to leave timestamps in the episode, so you can skip that if you want. But just so you know, I know some people might not want to be spoiled about what comes ahead. You might be following along with the podcast to see how the series goes, and I don't want you to be spoiled about that one. So for the third fan fiction that we cover, you may want to skip that if you have not read to book 6. And then finally, at the end of the episode, I say that we will have one more episode before we officially end season 3. And I say that I don't know what we're going to do, but now I do, now that it's a few days removed from the recording of this episode. Next week, Emily, Jonathan, and Jesse and I will get together and we're going to be taste testing different butter beers. And we will also be talking about all the Harry Potter movies and ascribing them a different American holiday. So, we will officially declare, for example, which Harry Potter movie is the official Christmas movie, which Harry Potter movie is the 4th of July movie, something like that. So that's what you have to look forward to next week. And then the week after that, we will take a short break and then get into our coverage of book 4. But anyway, that's all I got to say for the preamble for this episode. I hope you enjoy it. And enjoy the episode. Hello, everybody, and thank you for listening to Retold, the podcast where I retell you my favorite story of all time, Harry Potter. Except not today. Today, we are doing something a little different. As you know, we have reached the end of season 3, book 3 of our Harry Potter coverage. We just wrapped up our coverage of the Prisoner of Azkaban. And so we do our little fun little bonus episodes at the end of each season. So the first one, we had our best of book 3. Last week, we had our Jeopardy episode. And this week, you'll be listening to our fanfic episode. And so every time we do fanfic, we got to bring back the lovely, the amazing, the first ever co-host on Retold, Emily. Emily, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Good. We're so glad to have you back. Happy to have you on the pod. You're not supposed to have favorites, but you're definitely a top 3 co-host of mine. I love recording with you. Love doing this stuff, and it's nice to do it with friends too. But yeah, so you are also on these fanfic episodes because you're somewhat of a extraordinaire when it comes to fanfic. We're going to hop into it soon. And I'll give the audience the layout for the episode. But first, before we get to everything that we're doing, it's Christmas season. We're right around the corner. This episode will come out next Monday, actually. Not tomorrow, the next day. Or not the next, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anyway, and it will be December, and it's time for people to do their Christmas shopping, to pick certain things out, certain gifts for their loved ones and friends. So my question for you is, if you were to receive a Christmas present from the wizarding world, what would you receive?
There's so many good things to pick from, but I feel like for me in my personal life, what would be the most useful thing for me would be Hermione's beaded bag.
Oh yeah, the beaded bag.
I am an overpacker, like chronically.
Mhm.
So I feel like that would be so nice because I could fill it up and then no one would be like, why do you have 4 bags for a 2-day trip? And I would be embarrassed. But now
and
with
I'd
a
be
beaded
like,
bag.
get off my back.
Yeah, exactly. Like, let me do what I want to do.
We used to do go on like church summer camps together, and that
Mhm.
was where I first learned to pack for like a week-long trip.
Yeah.
And the thing about that was at first when I'm in middle school packing, I didn't pack that much. And that's when I learned, oh, actually it's a good thing to overpack.
Yeah.
I actually need probably 2 or 3 bags, even if it's just a week-long trip.
Mhm.
So very good. The other fun part about the beaded bag is I imagine, and listeners, if you haven't read to book 7, you don't know about the beaded bag,
Mhm.
but that's okay. That's okay. It's not that big of a spoiler. I imagine there's probably a lot of fanfics about the beaded bag of
Yeah.
being able to climb in there with the extension charm in it. You know,
Mhm.
I love magic. It's basically that, but for a bag. Well, I said that what I would like is, and again, it's very simple. Emily and I were talking about before the episode, something very basic. And I was like, you have no idea how basic my pick is. I just want as many 6-packs of butterbeer as I can have, or maybe like a direct line from Universal where I
Yeah.
can turn on a secret faucet
Like a
on
tap.
a secret tap and have it pour out for me.
know,
That would be what I wanted.
That is valid. I kind of thought about that too, but I was like, I guess like low key, we already kind of have that. We have access to it.
Yeah, that's true. It's not like something you can't
It exists
attain.
in this world.
Mhm.
So
But I'm so much of the convenience fella. I
Yeah.
just want to go
you're like,
get
I don't
it.
want a wand. I don't want a flying broom. I just want butterbeer.
I could have asked for a port key to take me there regularly,
And
but
you didn't
no.
even think about that.
No,
No.
it goes to show how much thought I gave to this question. But anyway, so those are our gifts. Listeners, if you have any gifts that you would like to let us know about, for what you would want from the wizarding world, feel free to write into theretoldpodcast@gmail.com or message me on Instagram at theretoldpodcast. Now, with all those plugs and little fun stuff out of the way, 2 things we're going to do this episode, Emily.
Mhm.
One is the fanfic. I'm gonna recap 2 fanfics. I'm even gonna read a whole fanfic, a very short one. But the other thing I want to do before we get to that is Madlibs. So
Let's
I
go.
love Madlibs. They're so much fun. And on the Streaming Things podcast, there was a season where one of the hosts, he kept doing this, where at the beginning of each episode, he would ask them for all the nouns, adjectives, verbs to fill it in. And then he would say what it is at the end of the episode. I don't know if I'm going to be able to wait. We might just do it all right now.
Okay.
So anyway, here's what I need you to do, Emily. I need you to not look at the screen.
Okay.
Maybe like close your eyes or something. And I will ask you for each of the different things. So first thing I'm going to need from you, Emily.
Okay.
First thing don't look. Don't you freaking look. First thing I'm going to need is an adjective.
Stinky.
Stanky. Oh my goodness. Stanky. Okay. Next, another adjective.
Smelly was what came to my brain. And I'm like, no. Yellow?
Is yellow an adjective?
Is that an adjective? Y'all, don't judge me.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I think it is. I think
It is because it's a descriptor.
Yeah. You're
Oh
right.
my
You're
gosh.
right. All
Sorry,
right.
everyone.
Now give me a profession.
Profession. A welder.
A welder. We're going to sound so stupid. We're over here like, what's that?
I've been out of high school for a long time, people.
My wife's a freaking high school English teacher. She'd be so upset. Give me a noun.
Dog.
Dog. Okay. Give me another noun.
Statue.
Okay. Statue. 2 more for this one. So I need a verb.
Running. Or should it be like, is it ing or just like
let me see if it
run?
makes sense. I think it'll work. And a noun.
Desk.
Desk. Okay. And
What's
so
directly in front of me?
that's right. Okay. So open your eyes, Emily.
Okay.
Here's what we have. It's Prisoner of Azkaban related. Harry learns that Sirius Black, a stanky wizard and prisoner of Azkaban, has escaped and is believed to be after him. At Hogwarts, Harry encounters Dementors, yellow creatures that guard Azkaban, which affect him more than others. He learns to defend himself against Dementors with the help of Professor Lupin, the defense against the dark arts welder. Harry discovers that Sirius was his father's dog. Hey, that works. That works. But was accused of betraying Harry's parents to Voldemort. With Ron and Hermione, Harry uncovers that Peter Pettigrew, not Sirius, that's spelled wrong, betrayed his parents and faked his statue. Oh, no.
Wait.
Using a time turner, Harry and Hermione save Sirius from execution and help him running on a hippogriff named Buckbeak. Though Sirius remains a desk, Harry finds comfort in knowing he has a godfather who truly cares for him.
Oh, wow.
Yay!
Only mildly nonsensical.
Yeah,
but
I love
it
that.
Works.
Okay, so for the next one, again, close your eyes.
Okay.
This one, I will have you fill in the blanks, but we will come back to it at the end of the episode. So don't let me forget.
Okay.
All right, I need a food.
Burger.
Burger. Give me an adjective.
Mean.
Bing, bing. Give me a noun, please.
Table.
Table. Tables, ladders, and chairs. Give me another noun.
Oh my gosh.
Don't you say ladders and chairs there.
Plant.
All right, keep those nouns coming because we got a few more in a row.
Oh, this is stressful. Okay, a noun could be a
Go crazy with it. Go crazy.
watermelon.
Watermelon. That's not that crazy. I'm going to be honest. Go a little more crazy.
A little more crazy.
I need another noun. Also, I spelled watermelon wrong, but that's okay.
A toothpick.
Oh, okay. And then here's another. And then an animal. Give me an animal. Plural.
A kiwi.
Another noun.
A door.
Adore. Now give me an adjective.
Ugly.
Ooh. Ooh. Okay. And then a profession.
Cashier.
A number.
3.
Give me another profession.
My brain, I'm like all the jobs in the world. My brain's like, what do people do?
Podcast.
Hey. What about a landscaper?
Oh, I
Holla.
love it. Okay. I mean, I love it. Landscape. All right. I'm gonna need a couple, quite a few pronouns. So give me a.
Oh my God.
pronoun.
What's a
Or sorry, not
pronoun?
pronoun, personal noun. So a name.
Like a name?
A name.
Anybody's name?
Anybody's name.
Josh.
Perfect. Give me another name.
Michael.
Give me another name.
Frank.
And then the last one more name.
Tom.
Oh, okay. Good. All right, now we're gonna get away from that. Good job. You can open up your eyes now that you're blinded by everything. Okay, very good. So, listeners, if you want to know what Emily just cooked up, you're gonna have to stick around for the end of the episode. Don't let me forget. I should write that like on my hand.
Madlibs.
Lib. All right. We'll come back to that at the end of the episode, but now we're going to get to our retellings of some fan fiction. So last time, if you listened to our previous fan fiction episode, we did a fanfic on it was a Chamber of Secrets one, and it was Gilderoy Lockhart, and it was so magical. It was so wonderful. Listeners, you should check this out. It's by Snorcat Catcher. I even remember the name. I remember the name. Snorcat Catcher from I found it on fanfic.net, and it's called Battles with Basilisks, and it was one of the most cleverly written, well written too. The jokes were funny.
Mm-hmm.
It was very clever, like I said, and I just loved it so much. So check that out. Good one shot, long alternate universe fanfic. I'm learning the terms. I was like, I remember in that episode, I was like, what does AU mean? Alternate universe. And now this time around, I said, I want to do another one that has to do with the book we just covered, Prisoner of Azkaban related content. The issue was I ran into so many sucky fanfic.
Yeah.
And I hate to trash on it. Because again, like you mentioned this before, it's free entertainment, and it's people go out of their way to write this stuff, and I appreciate the effort. And there was, what I found to be true was that there was a lot more interesting concepts than executions. Like so the prompts sometimes can be very cool, very well done. Let me see. I had a note of like some of the things I wanted to make mention of. Okay. But some of the interesting fanfics that I saw, one was a self-insert fanfic, which I had never heard of before.
Oh, there are a lot of those.
A lot of them. And I almost took you on a journey for this self-insert fanfic where you would have been a student during the time of the Marauders, and Lupin has a huge crush on you.
Oh, okay.
And you like, it was very flirty. And I got like halfway through it and I was like, I'm kind of done with this.
Yeah.
But it was somewhat interesting. It was a self-insert with Lupin, and you two have like a Defense Against the Dark Arts project that you have to stay over the holidays to finish. And you're like the only two students that are staying at Hogwarts. Yeah, you and the werewolf. The other one that I really enjoyed, it was called The Big Harry Plot Point. It was really funny. There was something about it that made it a little more difficult to recap on this. But long story short, in that fanfic, it's placed at the beginning of Prisoner of Azkaban. Harry waves his wand and the night bus pulls up. But oh no, the night bus ran over Sirius Black in dog form. And like the characters, Stan gets out and he's like, oh shoot, somebody called J.K. Rowling, and J.K. Rowling is a character that appears, and she's like, I don't have time for this. And it was a really funny fanfic. I enjoyed that one. So you can check that out. The other one to mention was I found a bunch of like Christmas letters from the characters written to Santa of things that they would ask for. And that was really sweet. I enjoyed that topic a lot. And then there were a whole lot of Marauder stuff to do with this.
Yes, people love Marauders.
The only issue with those is that they're so long.
Have you heard of oh my gosh, All the Young Dudes?
Yes.
Yeah, that one is like, it is just an epic tale.
I know.
It's so long.
Yeah, I think we mentioned it last time too, but on the Fox and the Foxhound podcast, they're still covering that, I think, and it's like chapter 70 something. Yeah, they're still going. And it's not bad that these fanfics are long. It's just I'm not going to cover them on our one-shot fanfic episode.
It's hard to do.
There's a lot of that, and then there's also a lot of shipping. And I got to be honest, I can't. You see it right there on the note. I can't stand. I've discovered my new most hated relationship. It's Snape and Hermione fanfics. Yeah. What the heck is wrong with these people?
Sorry if there's someone listening that's into that. Sure. For me, it's just not for me. I don't like stuff with like minors and adults, and they usually find a way to make it okay. Like sometimes Hermione will take the time turner and go back in time to when they're age appropriate,
when he's like a student.
But and then like she'll like choose to stay or something. But it's still like, it makes me icky. Also, Hermione, unfortunately, is one of the main girls, and like the only main girl, acts as a self-insert for a lot of people. So she gets shipped with everybody.
Oh, that makes sense.
Everybody.
Hermione Dumbledore. Hermione Filch. Oh no. Oh my God. I just feel disgusting even saying that. Because these are like adults. But with that out of the way,
anyway,
but back to the wholesome stuff. I did enjoy the Christmas letters to Santa. Those are fun stuff. I wish I could remember. Oh, one was like one of my favorite ones. It was Dobby writing to Santa.
What did he ask for?
Dobby asks for nothing for himself, sir. But he says like, because Dobby is having all that he wants. And he talks about like how he has a paying job. He has clothes now. It's really sweet. And then the thing he asks for is for Santa to do something to help Winky.
Oh.
And I won't say too much about Winky because we haven't gotten there yet. But if you know, you know. And it's really sweet. The other fanfic I saw that was funny was it was like Dobby is acting as Santa and Buckbeak is a reindeer, and they are riding through. And one of the, I'll say this last one, then we'll get to our actual fanfics for this episode. But in one of them, because again, these concepts are so cool. Like I like these prompts. But in one of them, it's a series of letters to Santa from different characters. So there's like 18 chapters, and each one just a different letter. And throughout it, everybody is saying how there's something wrong with or off about Blitzen, the reindeer. Like Mad Eye Moody, keep an eye on that Blitzen. Something's off about him. Or Blitzen did something weird last year. Finally, it gets to Montague's letter. I think it's Montague, whichever Slytherin it was that, and somewhat spoiler, that the twins shove into the was it Marcus Flint or Montague that they shove him into the
vanishing
cabinet? Well, anyway, he says in Montague's letter, he basically says, "Please help me. The Weasleys have transfigured me into a reindeer. I'm not Blitzen. I'm Montague." And he talks about that. So that was like the funny little twist in that series.
That's cute.
But anyway, did you have any fanfic you wanted to shout out, by the way?
Oh, yes, I do.
Oh, yeah.
I came ready. Hold on, actually.
Like I said, because your last episode, you shouted out the disappearances of Draco Malfoy.
Yes.
And some of my listeners, I had one friend who told me, but also 2 listeners reached out and told me that they
enjoyed it.
Were reading it as well.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. Everyone should read that one. I have 2. So the first one is Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love by Is This Self-Care? So good. Actually, it was published as a published work. She rewrote it.
Oh, very cool.
I read both, but I prefer the fan fiction just because I like the way it's set up already. This person, when I read it before anything was published, I literally was like, this person needs to actually write books. Like, this is like,
oh, really
well done. So clever, so funny.
Lots of kudos.
And then my other one, hold on. It's in my list here. It is Apple Pies and Other Amends by To Eat a Peach. Very cute. It's kind of like Hermione dealing with the war by like baking goods for people and going to their house and delivering them, and through that they're both Hermione. Sorry, y'all. I should preface it with that. That's all I read for the most part, but they're both really good and I really enjoyed them. So always read the tags. If I suggest something, read the tags, especially if you're under 18. Please,
tags are important.
Be responsible.
I did not know this.
They're very important.
I did not know how important tags were.
So those are my suggestions. Feel free to do with what you will, but
very good. Well, thank you for sharing those, listeners. I hope you check those out. But now, on to our fanfics that we'll be discussing this time around. So you got the mouse over there. The first one that we're going to be covering is called Hufflepuff's Bogart Lesson, and it's by Komodo Classic. And I found this on fanfic.net. It's a short one. It says like 1,200 words. Let's get to our retelling. So here we go. So the first one, Hufflepuff's Bogart Lesson. The Hufflepuffs finally get their Bogart lesson, but their fears are a little bit different than everybody else's. So they walk in complaining to Lupin that everybody else has already got to have their Bogart lesson. Famous Harry Potter, because he's a Gryffindor, they got to do theirs first. I think they say something about the Ravenclaws complained and they got their one, but Hufflepuffs were always last. Lupin says, "My bad, y'all, but you got one now, so get over it." Susan Bones goes first, and this begins the part of the weird fears. So their fears, to spoil it, listeners, or to tell you it, they're not like normal fears. So typically, when you think of a fear, like in the movie, you saw spiders, you saw snakes, somebody made a clown. But in this one, they're more like existential fears.
Or like abstract.
Yeah. And it was a really clever idea. I really liked it. So she gets up there, Susan Bones, and she says that she's afraid of heights. Okay. And Lupin's like, I don't know how to make that funny. And like, nobody's like, I don't even know what it's going to turn into. What do we do? Somebody says, you could turn it into like a bouncy mushroom, because they're thinking of freaking Mario. It's just an idea, but people suggest a trampoline. They're like, bet. So Lupin lets out the Bogart, and it's kind of really cool actually how this author, whatever their name was, I forgot already.
Komodo Classic.
Yeah, it's kind of cool how they created this or imagined this. Smoke fills the whole room. and then there's like a clear spot that looks like they're staring over a cavern into a long bottomless pit or something like that. And she's freaking out, but she, ridiculous, remembers to cast it. And she actually doesn't go for the trampolines, listeners. She goes for the bouncy mushrooms. And everybody's like, oh, so funny. Yay. So next person to go up is Alice Larkin. And I don't know if that's an actual name in the series.
I feel like that was
I don't know.
An actual name.
Yeah. But anyway, Alice Larkin steps up. And do you know what she's afraid of, Emily?
What?
Nuclear holocaust.
Oh, yeah.
She's afraid of a nuclear holocaust.
They're all like Muggle-borns.
Yeah. That one was wild. So essentially, like, and they don't even know what it is at first. It says like the landscape of the classroom turns into like Mars, where it's just like bleak and red and sandy or something like that. And then there's some object like a missile heading towards them.
Nuclear Armageddon.
Yeah, nuclear Armageddon. Like. Crazy. Again, really ingenious how this person, the Komodo Classic person, creates all this stuff. So missiles coming at them, and she turns it into a rainbow. But I have a question about this Boggart, about Boggarts in general.
Mm-hmm.
If they're able to embody this, like what would have happened if that missile hit?
I know. It's like, is it just smoke and mirrors, or does it actually have an effect? Because
the Boggart has an effect on Harry.
With the Dementor.
However, we don't know if that's like
placebo.
An actual Dementor. Yeah. Or whether it's just like his fear inside of him. So I'm wondering, would it destroy the classroom? Would it destroy all of Hogwarts? Potentially Boggarts might be the most powerful thing in the wizarding world if they run into somebody. Anyway, then we get to, I wrote down Jeff. Is that the person's name?
There's Justin Finch-Fletchley.
Oh, I wrote JFF. It's Justin Finch-Fletchley. So, like, who's Jeff? Justin Finch-Fletchley, and the Boggart squishes the whole class together in a little closet. Why? Because he's claustrophobic. Okay, and that is kind of scary to have like the whole group just pulled together. But he makes it funny by turning the closet walls see-through so everybody can see on the outside, and that's just silly. Then it's some kid named Randall's turn, and he's afraid of drowning. So the whole classroom fills up with water, and everybody's like, underwater talking. Lupin says, class ridiculous. And then he, makes a drain in the floor, and all the water goes down. Again, all the silliness. Then another kid steps forward, and the Boggart turns into a thunderstorm, and she turns it into lovely music, or I think it's like bongos and drums or something with the sound of the thunder. And finally, some girl gets up there, and she's afraid of germs. So it is kind of funny because the thing doesn't tell you what it turns into, but Lupin just goes like, really? Germs? Then we get a little scene change to all the teachers in the teacher's lounge, and Lupin is exhausted, laying back in the squishy armchair, and he's complaining to all the other teachers about the Hufflepuff's fears. And Sprout's like, "Oof, man, I could have given you a warning. Honestly, you should have come to me first, and I'll let you know what you would have been up against." And then I wanted to read just the last few because I thought this was funny. So, because he's mentioning just a few that we didn't get to see, and he says, ridiculous, outlandish, and downright weird. If you're going to be afraid of an apparition accident, wouldn't the thing to be afraid of be splinching, not landing in the wrong place? And even that's pretty reasonable. But the example was a wedding. And she goes, Sam's cousin's wedding was ruined by a mass apparition accident. I didn't know that could be a thing of like everybody you're at your wedding and a whole bunch of wizards just accidentally appear in the middle of it. That's pretty funny.
Or where like the guests all apparated to the same spot.
Oh,
that'd be a mess.
Wrong place, guys. Get out of here. And then the last one he mentions is that it says Lupin let his head fall back against the headrest of the chair. Fear of brain damage shown by way of playing baseball, he said, sounding completely defeated. And I thought that was silly. So anyway, that's pretty much it for the fanfic. I enjoyed that. Pretty good one, I'd say.
It really opens the scope of like, because whenever they do that scene in the third book, you're like, okay, all of these are like individual things. Mm-hmm. You never see someone. I mean, the moon is kind of abstract, and we see how that goes. But I wonder if, like, people are afraid of multiple things, right? So I wonder if the Boggart chooses something that it can be,
rather
than something abstract.
I can't do nuclear Armageddon can I interest you in like
a clown?
So, but no, I thought this was a very clever idea, a cool expansion of it. And I'm glad that it was the Hufflepuffs. It makes sense that they would have weird fears
silly.
or not weird, completely rational fears as opposed to everybody else. But anyway, that was the lovely Hufflepuff's Bogart lesson. Again, thank you so much, Komodo Classic. We really enjoyed that one.
Thank you.
This next one we're going to read is called, oh yeah, I scrolled all the way to the bottom when I was taking my notes. This next one is called How the Gryffindor Quidditch Team and Percy, in parentheses, Saved the Wizarding World.
Yay.
This is by HP Fanatic 12. It's a little bit longer, about 3,800 words.
Oh wow, this was written this year.
Oh wow, when was the other one written? I didn't
see.
look. Oh, that's the Secret Santa one. Don't look at that.
Oops, sorry, I can't read.
Yes, Bogart lesson up at the top.
2013.
Okay, very
I always
good.
love to check.
Yeah,
I just like to see.
You said that in the last episode. You're like, guys, he picked a fanfic from like 2008. And that's what I was looking for this time around too. I was like, I want to find old fanfics, but not this one. This one's a little newer, but it had a good bit of kudos on it. So I was like, I'll give it a shot. So anyway, this is mainly a fanfic about Oliver Wood.
The MVP.
That's right. And it takes place during the third year. So that's, again, book relevant. It starts out saying that he has a problem, Oliver Wood. It was a terrible, horrible, no good sort of problem. So it's in Harry's third year, Oliver's seventh year. Essentially, Oliver is upset because every year the Gryffindor Quidditch team is primed to win the championship, like now that Harry's there. But every year something happens with Voldemort, with that no good Quidditch ruining Voldemort. And he shows up and messes up their season by messing up Harry and putting him in the hospital wing. And that's a problem for Oliver. We never thought about this from his perspective. Okay.
Yeah. He's in anguish. Pure anguish.
We've only ever considered the ramifications for Harry, but it's put his team in jeopardy. And Oliver, as a good captain, is thinking about this ahead of time. So here we are up in Wood's dormitory, and he's pacing around trying to solve this problem about Voldemort messing with his Star Seeker. And something interesting is that he begins talking through his problem with Percy, who is also in the dorm. And that's when I finally realized, oh, shoot, they're in the same year.
Yeah.
I never thought about that.
I always focused on like everyone in Harry's grade level. And I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, they would like be staying in the same spot. And
there's a lot of fanfic about the two of them. And I'll just leave that there. As I was scrolling through, I did see a lot of that. So anyway, some highlights from their conversation. I liked when Percy suggests less practices because he goes, Harry just keeps getting hurt and injured. And Percy's like, maybe if you did less practices, he'd be a little more safe. Wood goes, ridiculous. Yeah, just stop it. It's not the practices that are the problem. Wood also insults Madame Pomfrey because he's
she takes too long to heal.
Yeah,
she's holding it back.
She's doing it on purpose. I bet she's paid off by the Slytherins. And then at one point, Wood says, like, Harry's caught up with all this you-know-who nonsense. And Percy's like, nonsense? What are you talking about? At the end of their talk, Wood says, I know what we have to do. So we get a short little time skip or scene change, if you would. And Wood has gathered the whole team into the Quidditch shed in the dark. And there's a fun little tussle as everybody's like, what's going on in here? But then a Lumos lights up the tip of a wand and they're all gathered around it like they're co-conspirators, just chit-chatting. Also, Percy's there too, and Harry's not. Just the whole Quidditch team, plus Percy, minus Harry. Yeah. And Wood tells them the issue. You know, he says that, tells them everything he told Percy of like, Voldemort keeps getting in the way. We got to do something about this. He says he's got a plan to keep Harry safe. And they say, what's the plan? He goes, we're going to kill you-know-who. And I wrote down their reactions are about what you'd expect. So let's see. I have have you lost your bloody mind? I reckon he has, Angie. Lost it a long time ago, actually. The Imperious Curse doesn't sound too bad right now. I do like in this, if you read this one, listeners, the banter and the short little quips are...
It's pretty good.
Anyway, Wood says, we can take him because I've got a great plan. And Percy goes, what's the plan? He says, we find him and we attack.
Great plan.
Yeah, Percy's like, bro, that's not a plan. And I really liked when he goes, sod off, Percy. You're just jealous you didn't think of it first. But then the team wonders, how do we find Voldy? Next, we get another little scene change, little time skip, and the team is hiding in the Slytherin locker room where Marcus Flint is waiting by himself. And so I wanted to read the intro to this scene. Minutes before practice was starting, Marcus Flint was in the Slytherin locker room, shoving his clothes into his school bag when he felt a wand press against the back of his neck. I'm only going to ask you this once, Flint, Oliver whispered right next to his ear. Wood, what the heck are you doing in here? See, I censored it, Emily. Got to keep this family friendly. I'm asking the questions, says Oliver. I think Ollie just wanted an excuse to see Flint in his ruggedly handsome glory, Fred piped up as the whole team plus Percy entered. I always wondered about them, George added, nudging his twin. They always spend too much time with those handshakes. I liked that call out to the books of that, their handshakes, and I thought that was funny.
It's very, accurate to the book twins, too.
Yeah.
The banter.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, Oliver's like, ew, gross. And Flint just goes, what are you talking about? I'm a catch. He says, Wood would be lucky if he had me. I'm a catch. At this point, Terrence Higgs and Adrian Pusey walk in, and they make the same jokes about Wood and Flint, and they're like, we knew it. Oliver says that it isn't like that. He says, I need to know where you-know-who is so we can protect Harry for the Quidditch final. And Flint says, why the heck would we help you with that? Then we get a little humorous moment where Wood has these, temper tantrums. I forget what they call them, but where he just bubbles over, gets angry, and yells at everybody. But he's yelling at Flint of what do you say? I'm warning you right now, Flint. You better tell me where that not so good word is, or I will take all of the troll blood out of your body myself. Well. Pretty crazy. But anyway, he keeps yelling, and then it says, unfortunately for Oliver, he didn't see the way Flint's fist curled. Wham! The girls winced. Fred and George let out whistles while Oliver laid on the ground, moaning in pain. So that's funny. So anyway, Wood gets his poop rocked. Crap rocked. That's the expression. And all the Slytherins start to walk out, except Adrian Pusey stays behind and tells them where they can find you-know-who. And do you know where that is, Emily?
Malfoy Manor.
Dun, dun, dun! We get another time skip. And there's actually a short segment here, but I'm going to skip that as well so we can keep scrolling. It's just a short little bit of them walking out of the castle. But they make their way over to Malfoy Manor, and they're sneaking into there, and they hit the door with a little Aloha Mora, and they sleuth on in there.
That's all it takes.
That's all.
That's it.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah, that's all you need to do in the wizarding world. Everyone is doubting, and Oliver he's upset with them, but he's like, you'll thank me later when we have the Quidditch Cup. They're like, it's not even worth it, bro. So they creep down in the depths of the manor. I like Voldemort is introduced as Old Snake Face. I picture the scene in the 7th movie where they're all sitting around the table. But it says Old Snake Face was seated at the head of the table. And I wanted to read, Voldemort stands up and says, what is the meaning of this? We're so dead, Alicia was muttering to herself. Well, that's knowing you, Fred. You too, George. Oliver walked in slowly, his head held high, eyes steely. The temperature in the room plummeted. I'll tell you what. You've been distracting my seeker. The Death Eaters looked at one another, confused, and whispered amongst themselves. Even you-know-who was growing agitated. What are you talking about? He sneered. Lucius Malfoy's eyes were darting between the teenagers and you-know-who. My lord, those are Harry Potter's friends. They play on the Quidditch team. Except me, Percy cut in. Is that really important right now, Angelina said. I'm just clarifying, Percy shrugged. Right now? Yes. But I really like that moment of I'm not on the Quidditch team.
Not me, though.
Not me. I'm just here. I don't know. Honestly, I didn't know we were doing this. So then an all-out brawl ensues between both sides where the Weasley twins are throwing out stink pellets at everybody. They're casting spells. They're casting spells back at them. It's a big old brawl, like I said. But rather than using magic, Oliver Wood has just decided to throw some hands. He wrestles Voldemort to the ground, and it says he repeatedly slams Voldemort's head against the floor, saying, you sick jerk, he cried out, getting hysterical once more. You don't mess with Quidditch. For a split second, All the fighting behind him stopped, everyone staring. The boy's quite obsessed, Lucius said, not sure what to make of it. You get used to it, Fred shrugged. Sort of, Percy said. He's more insane than I am, Bellatrix Lestrange added, and the fighting resumed. But here's the climactic moment. By now, Voldemort was barely conscious, overcome with dizziness and pain. Oliver was still going, eyes showing a manic gleam. Say goodbye, he was laughing crazily. Avada Kedavra. So Wood casts an AK on Voldemort and kills him. And that was how Lord Voldemort ended up dead, not by the means of Harry Potter or Albus Dumbledore, but by one very passionate Quidditch enthusiast. And then the final scene is a fun little moment at breakfast the next day where Harry is having breakfast with his friends, Ron and Hermione, the trio, they're eating. And then Wood walks up and drops Voldemort's broken wand in front of them. They're like, what the heck is that? And Wood goes, it's you-know-who's wand. He's dead. I like that he's still saying you-know-who, even though he killed him. He's like, what do you...
faced off with him and I won.
It's a dirty word, or it's a naughty word. He said plenty of naughty words in this fanfic, but not this one. You got to have a line, all right? So anyway, Oliver's like, oh, it's you-know-who. I killed him. And when Hermione asks how, he's like, no one gets in between my secret and Quidditch. Oh, and Harry, be on the pitch in 10. And it says he walks away cheerily. So yay, that was very sweet. I enjoyed that one.
Yeah. That's a good one. Not lore accurate, but I'm like, wait, isn't he doesn't have a body yet. Mm-hmm. So it's
that's true.
Fun.
That's a good point. I think he even makes note of that.
A body or, all of the, what's.
Oh, that's right. I mean, that sounded really funny. When what do you mean, what's? In the notes, I think it said something like that. So yeah, there's your two retelling of fanfics. Now,
so good.
I thought we're only at like minute 40, so we actually have had some time, but I'll just briefly tell you, I did find another fanfic, Emily, and I thought you would really enjoy this. So this one, it's called Secret Santa by Marwana. And so this was on fanfic.net. I really enjoyed this. When I typed in like one-shot Harry Potter Christmas fanfics that were between that were under 5,000 words, under 5,000 words that had them, and that were also like very appropriate.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
no slash.
that were very appropriate. This was the highest rated one. So
cool.
Very pleased by this. Long story short, let's see if I can retell it just from memory with no notes.
Okay.
What essentially happens is that it's Christmas at Hogwarts, or it's about to be Christmas, and Dumbledore says, hey, everybody's staying for Christmas. We're going to do Secret Santa.
Oh,
yeah, it's very sweet. Listeners, buckle in. This is going to be a wholesome retelling. I really enjoyed this one. So he says, he doesn't say buckle in. I said buckle in. But he goes, we're going to do a Secret Santa. And the way that it works is very much like Goblet of Fire, where you walk up to a bowl and out shoots a name and you get that name. That's the name that you do. And it's always, they make clear that it's somebody in your year. And it's not like somebody that you wouldn't know. So Hermione, it starts off with Hermione and Ron bickering over like it would suck to get Draco. I would hate to get Draco. And this takes place during book 6, by the way. So
he's going through a hard time.
He's going through a hard time. A little bit of a spoiler alert for Draco's situation. No, it's okay because I'm going to get to it. For Draco's situation in book 6. But so yeah, he's going through a little bit of a hard time. But anyway, Harry is thinking to himself, perfectly wholesome thoughts of like, it doesn't matter who you are. Everybody deserves a good Christmas. It actually is a really touching fanfic. So it's Harry's turn, because he's his 6th year. They go by years and then letters or names, I mean. And so Harry's 6th year, Potter, he's near the very end. And he gets up there, and who does he get? Draco.
Oh, no.
He's come up with a gift for Draco. He's thinking about what he can come up with for him. He wants to get him a good gift, though, because, again, everybody deserves a good present on Christmas.
Is this pre or post hospitalization of Draco?
I think it would be pre, because I think that takes place in the second half of the year.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's right before the final Quidditch match.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, Harry is like, I need to come up with a good present. And he starts thinking about like, people should be able to spend Christmas with their families. And so, listeners, if you don't know, Lucius Malfoy at this point is in Azkaban prison. Bit of a spoiler. He's in Azkaban prison in this book. It took place after book 5.
Yes.
I'm not wrong. You're looking at me like I'm wrong.
No, I'm trying to think of what Harry's going to do.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good. So, yeah, like I said, it's all spoilers for book 6. But he's like, I need to get a gift for Draco, but I want him to be with his family. So he goes to Snape because he has a question for Snape. And he goes down to Professor Snape's office in the dungeons. He looks at all the pickled animals like normal. It's like every time Harry goes into that office, he makes note of the pickled animals. But he says to Snape, hey, I got a question about the Secret Santa. And Snape, for a minute, he's like, no take-backsies, all right? You can't just, because you didn't like whoever you got, you can't just get rid of it. I think he suspects that Harry got Draco. He's like, you got to give him a good gift. And Harry's like, chill, bro. I was going to get him a good gift, but I have a question. Draco's home life. Do his parents actually love him? He asks a pretty serious question.
Loaded question.
Yeah. And Snape takes it seriously. It says he takes a breath and he's just like, yes, his parents do actually love him. Harry says, that's all I needed to know. So he leaves and he sends a bunch of letters to Scrimgeour, the prime minister. Again, spoilers, people. At this point, listeners would also be aware, if they've read this part of the book, that Scrimgeour has been wanting to, who's the Minister of Magic, has been wanting Harry to act like he supports the ministry. Harry basically cuts a deal with him and says, listen, if you let Lucius go in a halfway house, so he's not free, but he's at a halfway house for a week. So Draco can spend Christmas with his dad for that week, then I will go to X amount of ministry events. And Scrimgeour basically writes back and it's like, you know what, bet you got to show up to our Christmas ball, our New Year's ball, and you got to do 2 interviews with reporters of my choosing. Harry's like, fine, I'll do it. But anyway, Harry's then now I got to come up with a way to get Draco to the halfway and everybody else to the halfway house. And what does he do? He uses Dobby. He gets Dobby to apparate everybody to the halfway house once Lucius is there. And it, again, I won't say everything. You can read it for yourselves, listeners, but it's a cute little moment where Draco, Lucius, and Narcissa and Snape, who this book says is this fanfic says is Draco's godfather. I didn't know that. I wonder, is that canon?
I don't know sometimes what's real and what's not real.
That's true.
I am yep, that checks out. That's what I remember.
But they all oh, wow, this was a good gift. And they have a family hug. Snape's not part of the hug, but Narcissa is basically Snape, get in on this hug. Aww. And then they all hug. And that's kind of how the fanfic ends.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
Do you think Harry would actually do that?
No.
Not
a million
give me
years.
Anybody else. Ron would be get him a toad or something. Get him something.
I will get him the Bible.
I would get him a therapy session.
That's a good point too. Yep. So see, I think Harry would probably real book Harry would be less time with his dad is actually better than more time.
Yeah.
So those are your 3 longer fanfics, full-length ones. I think that's a good question. How close do we think book accurate these would have been? This one, definitely not. Mm-hmm. I think the Hufflepuff one, pretty book accurate. I could see that actually happening. And then the long one that was definitely not happening. No. He probably feels that way, but he would never do that. All right, listeners, I hope you've been enjoying this journey through fan fiction. This will be the last one that I read about. I'm actually going to read most of this. I might jump around, and Emily, I'll probably edit this a good bit just to skip the boring parts. Okay. But it's only 1,000 words, so I'll read this here. So, the title of it is Who Said Chivalry is Dead by Debs 1990. And so this is just a fun little Prisoner of Azkaban fanfic that I found that I wanted to share with everybody. And it's this was another cool fanfic that I found. This is a very similar one, Missing Moments. So, and that's apparently another category of these fanfics of when they gloss over certain things in the book or certain things probably happened that people might have just mentioned, but were never written. Mm-hmm. I found one good one it was interesting, of a bunch of missing moments from Prisoner of Azkaban. They were all of the Hermione and Ron moments. what I didn't like about it, though, it was a Hermione fanfic, which, again, that's canon. I don't got a problem with it. However, they were way too mature. They were like talking about their problems in a very mature manner.
I'll read one and I'm like, they're 11, right?
Yeah, they wouldn't talk like that.
They wouldn't talk like that.
Another really funny one was there was a fanfic where the premise was that they actually were like faking their fights all of book 3 to make Harry feel better about being chased down by a murderer. So they were like doing it for his sake. And that's kind of cute. But this one, Who Said Chivalry is Dead? And essentially this one takes place like what happened when Sirius Black ran into Sir Cadogan when he was guarding Gryffindor Tower. So Who Said Chivalry is Dead by Debs 1990. Sir Cadogan jumped from one side of his portrait to the other, his eyes roaming from side to side, looking in every nook and cranny. No villain was going to pass him without a fight. In all honesty, he wondered why they'd taken so long to ask him to guard Gryffindor Tower. He was a knight after all, and would be much more use than the fat lady ever was. Ooh, he's throwing shade. When I prove how brave and noble I am, they will give me the job. What do you have to say to that, my trusty steed? As usual, the chubby pony didn't even bother turning around to acknowledge him as it continued to graze on the grass. Sirius Black certainly won't get past me if he's reckless enough to show his face again. Cadogan became silent and crouched down when he heard footsteps approaching. He lifted his head slightly and waited patiently, eager to see the idea of his potential nemesis. He got more than he bargained for, though, when he saw the Weasley twins. And essentially the Weasley twins, I'll skip over, but they say like, they're like bragging about their female exploits. It's at least that's what it kind of sounds like of Fred saying how like he's getting Angelina to like him and he did something to impress her. I think that's kind of the vibe it gives me, something in Quidditch or something like that. But anyway, hello, Sir Cadogan, the one on the left said charmingly. The early bird catcheth the worm, the other told him confidently. Sir Cadogan nodded grimly, making a mental note to change the password again tomorrow. Before allowing them to enter, he addressed the one on the left. No one likes a braggart, and 'tis unchivalrous to talk about your young lady in such a way. Good point, Sir Cadogan.
He's right.
To his great annoyance, the two boys snorted with laughter until one of them managed to wheeze out a response. Please tell me you're being ironic. Yeah, and you're one to talk about being chivalrous. Didn't you have 16 kids? 17, actually, Cadogan answered with a snarl.
Whoa.
Oh, so sorry, the boy replied with a snicker. In you, rogue, Cadogan barked while swinging his picture backwards to allow them to enter. Gladly. Oh, and one more thing before we go. I'm sorry to disappoint you, Sir Cadogan, but chivalry is dead. No! Without another word, they were gone. Sir Cadogan cursed loudly and began to think up a new password. One day, he would teach those braggarts a lesson. Then a little skip. Sir Cadogan forced back a yawn as he glanced left and right. It was the middle of the night, and all students were safely in their beds. I feel like I'm telling, like, in the middle of the night, all through the house. But Cadogan was determined to stay on the alert and keep guard all night. He was once a knight of the Round Table, after all. I don't think he was. And his nobility was not going to be questioned because of his inability to stay awake. However, his eyes were drooping, and he was finding it harder with every passing minute. He shook himself awake and inwardly chanted the song he used to sing with the other knights. I wonder what that song was. A bony finger tapped him on the shoulder, waking him abruptly and causing him to reach for his sword instinctively. Who dares to wake? Keep your voice down, Sir Cadogan. You don't want to wake the entire castle, do you? Cadogan glanced up at the man. He was a frail-looking man with wild black hair and gray eyes that glinted with an unmistakable determination. If you can't tell me the password, you rogue, I'm going to green-sheathed daffodilly. Cadogan stared at him with his mouth open wide, and a flicker of impatience appeared on the man's face. Well, how did you know that? I know all of the passwords, the man told him confidently, pulling out a piece of paper and passing it to him. So may I pass, good sir? Good sir. It had been so long since anyone had addressed him in that manner, and Cadogan was transported back to a time of daring quests and wonderful celebration feasts. He'd been famous for defeating the Wyvern of Wye with a broken wand and a fat pony as his noble steed. Now he was considered a joke and laughed at by the students at Hogwarts. He knew what they said, and deep down it hurt more than he cared to admit. Oh. Go forth, good sir, he answered without hesitation. The man had all the passwords, so what was the harm in letting him in? Thank you, Sir Cadogan. I bet you don't hear this enough, but I think you're doing a fantastic job. Thank you, my dear friend. 'Tis good to hear that my work is appreciated by someone. Goodbye, Sir Cadogan. Goodbye, sir. With that, he was gone. Cadogan closed the entrance once more, and smiled to himself before closing his eyes and going back to sleep. Perhaps, if he was lucky, he would return to his dreams of the wyvern and the glory he received after defeating it. It really was a wonderful time to be alive. Who said chivalry is dead? I love that. That was so wonderful.
That was cute.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cute one, and I liked it as a. That's my headcanon now. That's what went down. Mm-hmm.
That the only thing is like passing things into frames. Could they do that? Kind of?
Oh yeah, I took it to mean like I was thrown off when he taps on his shoulder, but I guess you can do that to wake him up. Makes me think of that scene when Filch was like. He's like shaking. Oh yeah,
he's shaking them out of the frame,
like a freaking salt shaker.
Rude.
So rude.
So rude.
But I took it to mean he just sort of like showed it to them, or showed it to him, like turned it around. But yeah, so I really enjoyed it. I thought it was cute.
That was very cute.
Listeners, those are all of our fanfics. I hope you enjoyed them. I enjoyed the ones that I found, or the ones that I read to you guys. I slogged through probably like 100 different fanfics for this episode.
Yeah,
I wasn't even finished deciding until last night over what we were going to read, because I was like, there's so much not good, so many not good. I don't even know the word, but anyway, it was difficult. And that's not to trash on fanfic. Like I said, there's tons of good ones out there, and I think my stomach keeps growling. I'm so hungry. And I think at some point we will probably, if you're down for it, do a longer one.
Yeah,
of do a couple episodes or quite a few episodes on it. Listeners, this is pretty cool. We got to give a shout out to the listeners. Okay. Mm-hmm. The other day, I was using ChatGPT, and I was like, yo, chat, how many listeners should I have before I start a Patreon? And it was like, you should have at least 300 to 500 monthly listeners. Said you can do it early, you can do it later, but that's a good number. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, we're almost there. Like, we're not too far from this, listeners. So if you enjoy this podcast and you want some extra juicy Potter content, okay? Ooh. And by extra juicy, I mean like good, not like fanfic juicy. Then please.
Wait, hold on. Good thing you can't see what I just did with my hand.
oh goodness. I'm gonna post the video version now. Yeah, if you like this and if you want more content, please share this with your friends. Mm-hmm. Let your other Potter friends know about this. It's been really encouraging to see how much the podcast has grown. Huge shout out to my co-hosts like Emily, who continue to do multiple episodes with me, and all of the guests that have come on. It's been wonderful. I've loved getting the feedback. I love growing this thing. It's been awesome. So we're also going to be expanding. I know I mentioned this before, but to cover anime too, and more just fantasy in general.
Ooh,
for like one-off episodes. Yeah. So in the new year, in fact, sometime in December, Bailey and I are going to be releasing episodes on the anime Frieren. I don't know if you've ever heard of Frieren.
I have not.
It's my favorite TV show ever. Okay. I love it so much. It's a really cool show. It's about like it's an elf named Frieren, and in like they kind of borrow from Tolkien's lore in that elves can live forever unless they don't die of old age. And so the premise of the show is that she because she can live forever, she has stopped like appreciating relationships. And the show is basically her learning to appreciate people again and her time with others.
Oh, that's nice.
And there's a lot more to it. There's a lot of action. There's fighting. There's drama. It's really interesting show. And I finish each episode thinking like, man, I want to be a better person.
I love that.
It's awesome. And so that's probably what we're going to cover first. And then we'll also do like, there's a whole bunch of really good shows coming out in January. We might cover the new Game of Thrones TV show, which is Night of the Seven Kingdoms. So I might do some episodes on that. But yeah, so eventually we'll probably change it from Retold, a Harry Potter podcast, to Retold, a fantasy podcast, and cover a whole bunch. But don't you worry, listeners. All right. Though the other shows may come and go, though the other things may not be weekly, your wonderful Potter content will always be this show's first priority for as long as there's Potter content to cover. But yeah, so that pretty much wraps up most of this. However, we got to do our Madlib.
Yes.
We got to get back to our Madlib.
Let's do it.
We got to see what Emily concocted.
I'm so afraid.
At the beginning. So let's get to it. It's on Microsoft Word. So here it is. Birdie Bots every flavored beans. It was from Honeydukes. It's a Honeydukes Madlib. All right. Birdie Bots every flavor burger.
Yay.
And they mean every flavor. Some of them are tasty, but some are just mean. There's chocolate and table. And there's spinach, plant, and watermelon.
Delicious.
I spelled watermelon wrong. George swears he got a toothpick flavored one once. What about these? These aren't real kiwis, are they? Oh, it's just a door. Besides, it's the cards you want. Each one has an ugly Witcher cashier. I've got about 3 myself. Your card will most likely feature one of the 4 landscapers of Hogwarts: Josh Gryffindor, Michael Hufflepuff, Frank Ravenclaw, or Tom Slytherin.
Oh my gosh. I had like a mind meld moment when I said Tom.
That's right. That's right. So that was our final little thing to wrap up the episode. Good job making those Madlibs, Emily. Listeners, thank you so much for listening. Next week, we will do one more like end of book 3, like season 3 episode. And I'm going to be honest, I don't even know what it's going to be. So last book we did like an Avatar crossover episode. And that was really fun to do with the people at Avatar: The Last Podcasters, which was the first podcast I ever listened to.
Oh, cool.
I want to do another special episode. I don't know what though. It might be something with another fandom, or it might just be something only in the Harry Potter universe. I'll figure that out. And then we will take a week break, and then we start our book 4 coverage.
Ooh.
And listeners, I've already started booking guests for book 4. And I got to be honest, we have some pretty big names coming in for book 4. I'm pretty excited. Like I said, the show's been growing. More people got eyes on us. So keep sharing it. And we might get some even bigger guests on. Can't wait for it. Emily's going to be there. She hasn't told me, but I know she will. So,
I'll be there.
Yeah. But we're looking forward to seeing you. Words are hard. I've tried to say and Emily at the same time. Emily, thank you so much for being on this episode.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Listeners, you don't know this, but like every other day I was like, hey, Emily, read this fanfic too. Read this fanfic too. And she was a champ, read it all. So I don't know if she's really nice or just has nothing else going on.
I have nothing else going on.
This was wonderful. Thank you so much. Listeners, I will see you next week. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
And click. Thank you for listening to Retold. Artwork for this podcast was created by Rachel Ortlip. Music was created by Taylor Jarvis. And the Retold podcast is produced by me. That's right. I made this.